Welcome back to my channel, everyone. So today we're going to be discussing Flight N32777 that crashed in Central PA July 16th of 1987. Now, the original footage that I filmed for this during this hike was earlier this summer, and unfortunately I ended up losing a lot of my footage and photos due to a corrupt hard drive. So we're going to try something a little bit different today and film this straight from what I call home base, or my library, where I do a lot of my research for hikes and photo locations, and we'll go through the footage and the directions to get to that location. Now, I did not share the specific location of this plane, because even though there is some graffiti on that plane, this area is really off-site. It's off the trail. And I believe it's been spared mostly damage due to the fact that it's off trail and it's so well hidden in the woods. There's actually parts and pieces of this plane scattered all around the crash area that have not been taken, fortunately. And like I said, very minimal graffiti done to the plane itself. So I will not get into specific locations, but I will be sharing general locations of this crash site. Now, this was a Piper Cherokee plane. This is the exact year of that plane here on the screen. This is a general location of the crash site, and you can research this actual crash on the aircraft. One has a write-up where it actually gets into the pilot made a departure from an uncontrolled airport during the climb. The aircraft struck trees and crashed. The aircraft received substantial damage and the pilot received serious injuries. This says the pilot had a clearance, however the clouds did not permit a VFR climb to altitude. The pilot entered the clouds without exact knowledge of his position or an improved departure procedure. The accident occurred in an uncontrolled airspace. So once again, it was a Piper PA-28 Cherokee, and the accident happened during its initial climb from Lock Haven. One thing I really liked about this hike is it's very diverse. I mean, it starts out in the valley. You have to cross some streams, a lot of fern growth. There's also, it borders some private property, so you want to watch the signs there. Make sure you're staying on the non-private parts of the area and trails. But as you get higher, there's, really nice boulder fields. Once you get to the top, before you cut east to get to the boulder fields, there's a really good overlook up there, looking at the valley below. And while I was standing there, apparently a low-level ultralight came overhead. I mean, it was right over the top of the trees. It was totally silent, so you just basically just saw the shadow coming over top of you, and looked up, and there was an ultralight flying in to the same airport that this gentleman flew out of in Lock Haven. So that's pretty cool to see. So something else to keep in mind up there is we ran into several rattlesnakes. There's a couple boulder fields you have to get to this area of the crash, or at least for the area where you start bushwhacking at the top of the mountain. But there was multiple snakes. What surprised me was how docile a lot of these rattlers are. I mean, it just proves every interaction I've had. I've walked past these things hiking them in the past, and within a within a foot, and they never really struck. So this thing did not rattle. One of the snakes, I stepped right in front of its hole. There was no rattle, but it did not strike. It just sat there. The other thing to watch out for is a lot of these snakes we saw were juvenile. They were small snakes, which they say they're the most dangerous because they just dump the entire venom into your system. So just keep an eye out for those in the boulder fields. That's where we saw all of the snakes, or the rattlers. It was all in the boulder fields up there. So just be cautious of that when you're going through there. Now, looking at my GPS logs from my Garmin, it says we actually traveled 12 miles round trip to get up to this site and back down. the trail is not marked that well, and we bushwhacked a lot to get back and forth between trails. But there, if you go to All Trails app, that helped out a lot. There's a couple of guys that actually found it and posted the location on there, but even that was still kind of iffy as to where it was. So we traveled 12.1 miles. It was 6 hours, and an elevation gain of 3,173 feet. Alright, so that's it. Any questions, please ask in the comments, and please subscribe and like if you enjoyed this content. I have a lot more coming soon. I have a whole entire notebook full of locations I plan on hitting here in the near future. Not only that, I plan on hitting some more haunted locations as we get closer towards Halloween, so I want to start hitting into that Halloween fall vibe here soon. So subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.